So O2's strategy is all about becoming a greater part of the digital lives of our customers. And what it means to us is being more engaged in the customer experience. It means being more engaged in innovation, growing revenue. And it means about future-proofing our business through the technology and the services and the products and the people. So what I want to talk to you about today is the fact that we believe that in order to be successful in O2, digital innovation and a digital innovation capability is critical. And I believe that for any business to be successful, they need to create a digital innovation capability. But what does that mean and how do you do it? And many businesses can't even get started because they can't answer the question about what it actually means. So for me, it's pretty simple. So digital used to be about bits and bytes. It was the computers, it was all IT. But actually now digital is your business and it's the experience you want to give to your customers. And innovation is really simple. It's just about making things simpler, better, easier, either for your business or for your customers or for your employees. So when you put them together, digital innovation is about leveraging technology to create a simpler, easier, better experience for your business, for your customers, for your employees. And nowadays we tend to focus on a number of technologies that form that group, whether it be mobile, cloud, analytics, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, but those technologies will morph and change over time, and I think you just need to be focused on what technologies are coming up and able to help you in your business. But at some level, digital innovation today is transforming your industry and your business. You may not see it yet. Some industries have been through it, some haven't, but it is happening. So let's just take a look at the housing market in the UK and how over the last 30 years it's been radically changed. So 30 years ago, if you wanted to buy a house, you'd walk on the high street, look at an estate agent's window, check out what they had for sale, and you'd probably spend weekends doing that. And then it started to change, and you could go online and you could check out a website. And then it changed again because you had an app in your pocket that actually told you the history of the sales of the property you're looking for and how property is increasing in the market and what type of properties. And now it's changing again. So you get full end-to-end service providers, essentially estate agents who can do end-to-end property sales or enable you to sell your own property on a platform. So, you know, and real estate agents still exist, but they adopt these technologies and try to avoid that disruption. But new businesses are created, new business models are created. And buying a house today is radically different from buying a house 30 years ago. It's easier, it's simpler, you get more choice, more flexibility. So you can see that industries are disrupted, and standing still just is not an option. So several years ago at O2, we decided to create an innovation capability. We understood that if we didn't innovate, our competitors would, and we would lose the leadership position that we had. So we set up a new team. It's called the Lab, and we recognized that our core business couldn't innovate. Not in that way. They couldn't take the risk of failure. They couldn't look at cannibalizing their own business models. And they didn't have the combination of different skills, the diversity of skills in any team to have the inspiration and the innovative ideas. And so the result of that is an award-winning team. They've created many projects and many products that we've launched and won many awards. But I'm not going to explain it. What I'm going to do is let Andy Hodgson, who's the head of my lab, explain it in a short video. He's much better than I am.
Competitors aren't just other networks anymore. They're startups like WhatsApp, Snapchat, and even Uber. They're all replacing us as a communications platform, and each one is able to rapidly innovate.
There are kids out there unconstrained by corporate realities, dreaming up the next way to change the world. We have to be ready for that. The lab was set up to respond quickly to these challenges, find new opportunities, and save money with our beta programs and fail fast attitude. So, what have we done? We wowed the fans of English rugby in Portland sports technology. We did the impossible, successfully launching a multi-platform app in under a month. We took a risk, and we succeeded. We revolutionized Wi-Fi calling. The lab saw that VoIP was eating our voice revenue, so we created the prototype of the multi-platform 2Go technology. We're proud to say that we've worked with most teams across the business, from idea generation to creating beta trials, from team workshops to think big events. We discovered that the world is not ready for an O2 family. Not everything we do succeeds, and that's okay. By doing this, we've saved the company millions of pounds by beta testing ideas to see how the market reacts, and stopping development before O2 commits to ideas customers just don't want or aren't ready for. But we keep on trying new things. We gamify driving and help turn O2 Drive into a multi-million-pound opportunity. Of course, not everything we do is about money. We're proud to have helped inspire thousands of young people take their first steps into the digital world. We innovate, we explore, we experiment, we succeed. We are the lab.
So digital innovation is critical to O2's success, and we help the O2 brand in many ways. So you heard some examples there that Andy was talking about. We've delivered new revenue opportunities through new propositions and new markets. He talked about Wi-Fi calling. Wi-Fi calling was launched by O2 4 years ago based on a prototype in the lab ahead of any other telco. It's now a global app that is supported globally in Telefónica's technology team and is used in all of Telefónica's properties around the world. And that started as an idea in the lab in the UK. We've also entered the car insurance market through a prototype session that the lab did, and I'll talk more about that and the O2 Drive success story in a little while. We support our corporate social responsibility program, both through Think Big, and Andy talked about helping young children, young people develop technical and digital and employable skills. But also we support many charities. So Lowlands Rescue, which is a volunteer rescue service that find missing or vulnerable people in hard to access places. So we built them an app that uses location-based technology to know where they are, but also allows them to take images with their devices and take voice notes so that they can complete the paperwork on site rather than when they get back to the office. And that saves a lot of time for volunteers. And we do this sort of thing for free. It's part of our corporate process of supporting a number of charitable companies. We also did an app called Save a Life, which was for the South Central Ambulance Service. And what that does, it uses location-based technologies, inbuilt maps, educational guides. So you can find a defibrillator. You can find where the nearest one is in your neighborhood, and it gives you all the instructions to help somebody who's having a heart attack and save them. And that app is helping people save lives every day and give the ambulance and the paramedics time to get to site where people can actually help people out. In addition to that, he talked about failure. So failure is a core component of the lab. We try to test things out, and when they fail, we try to fail very quickly. We talked about the family proposition. So our marketing people had a great idea to build a family proposition, build in loads of things like shared calendars and stuff like that. And so we built a prototype. The lab has its own customer base that we can go out and test propositions with, so people are willing to be part of a community of beta testers. And we did insight and we did analysis through paper prototyping all the way to showing them how the app would work. And the conclusion was that actually our customers either didn't want it, they kind of liked the idea, but then when they had to use it, they really weren't using it very much. And the insight said they just weren't ready for it or didn't need it. Now, we probably spent less than £100,000 on that, whereas equivalent, that might have cost £500,000 of an agency to run and trial that. And we did it much, much faster. We also have done innovative voice services. So one of the things that we're keen on is how do you actually cannibalize your own market when you're a telco? And you look at WhatsApp and other people who are providing OTT services and not really generating revenue for us as such. So we also always apply those over-the-top mentality. So the lab actually has its own voice platform that connects to our core network and allows them to trial new services that are both over the top but also integrated into the network to see what value we can get from beating WhatsApp at its own game by giving integrated network features. The other thing we do is serve our employees. So for those of you who may know, we have an O2 Priority app that we built, which actually we give to our customers. And what O2 Priority is a way of gifting our customers with offers, opportunities to win competitions, prizes to win. And one of the most popular O2 Priority offers is the £1 Monday lunch. So every Monday, if you're an O2 customer, you can have lunch at Boots or Domino's or a whole range of outlets for £1. Okay, so it's great. It's very, very popular. Peak traffic on a Monday between 12 and 2 is crazy. But we also wanted to give it to our employees. So every Monday, our employees can go to the restaurant in our offices in Slough and they can have lunch for £1. But then the lab added something smart to that. So what the lab did is it took that idea and then we put beacons at every till. So actually all that needs to happen now is for our employees to access that £1 lunch. They just tap their phone on the beacon that's next to the till and it processes it. So things like that, where we're testing out new technologies but giving our employees a great experience at the same time, has actually really helped us with things like employee satisfaction, about pride for working for O2, and creating a great place to work. But it's actually not that easy. So we're about 6 years in. And some of the things that we wrestle with every year, and our finance colleagues, you know, they ask us why we have the lab, what's the value, as they will, because it's essentially an innovation world, not a direct revenue world. You've got to understand why you're doing it. So part of it is setting out a vision and why you're doing it and link it to business strategy. Otherwise, it will never really fly. It also requires funding. We don't spend a lot of money on the labs, about $1.5 million a year, and actually it recovers much, much more than that in overall benefits and even in money in terms of ideas that end up generating revenue. But it still requires sponsorship at the senior level, at the director level, to maintain that funding. It will always come under challenge because it looks like a discretionary spend. And also focus on areas of business benefit, but balance it with randomized or experimental search. So we're not a pure R&D team. I mean, it's only about 20 people at best. And it's not an R&D team. They need to deliver business benefit. They have quarterly targets about potential revenue earned, about betas done. But at the same time, if we don't let them experiment in different areas, we might never learn. So for example, the experimentation, we recently used Watson to examine the email of our 20 executives to see if we could tell what type of character they were. So we did character analysis based on emails. Now actually what we found is it doesn't really work very well because the way people write emails is actually quite standardized and doesn't, at least corporate emails, it doesn't necessarily reflect their character. So we found that everybody's exactly the same. But it was an interesting experiment just to see where we could use Watson and could we use AI in a slightly different way. And we kind of give them that opportunity. They can come with their own ideas, drive their own ideas through. The other thing is, to create something like this, cultural change in your business is often required. So I don't know, businesses may not look to their IT department for innovation. They might have a product team, they might have a marketing innovation team, they might have an insights team, and often they won't look to the CIO and the IT team for the innovative ideas. So you've got to create a culture where that's accepted first. You've got to have some wins and you've got to go out there and get engaged in different parts of the business to show value and show that you can actually help them be innovative. And taking an idea from the lab all the way to the market to actually give the benefits to your customers is really difficult. So while we've had many successes in betas and awards, the actual taking that beta into a productionized, scalable app, that process is really, really hard. And we've just continuously tried to evolve and figure out how to do that. And I think we've just about got to a model now that I would say is reasonably successful. But it's, you know, I mean, just simple things like the lab write all their apps in Ruby. And on our industrial IT, we don't have any Ruby developers at all. So everything has to be rewritten and redeveloped. And the business don't understand sometimes that you can't just take a beta that we've tested that they like and then just offer it to the whole customer base because it just falls over. It wasn't meant to. So there might be a 6-month development cycle post the first beta to actually production. Takes a lot of conversation with the business to understand that. So that's probably the hardest bit that we've faced. And that journey from insight to product is something where you really do have to have a continuous test and learn approach. So we've built a process, and I'll show you here, that really builds in the ideas. So we have insight at the beginning. And that's not technology insight only. We have business insight, social insight, futurologists. So the generation of the ideas, the generation of the inspiration for what we're going to do comes from many areas, and insight is a core part of the lab. But then we build, we measure, we test, and we do that over and over again. And we only then industrialize if we can see that the real benefits are proven. And even when we industrialize, often we'll take it back into that cycle so that we can understand, we can measure the live product and we can improve it. So we have a product industrialization team now that is a small team, 5 people, who take products out of the lab and redevelop them for launch. But they are linked. They have the same manager as the lab at a senior level, so that they can go back into the lab and say, you know, this isn't really working. Can you take it for another cycle? And O2 Drive, I want to talk about O2 Drive because it's our latest success and it's a really interesting concept for innovation. So who knew that people will buy car insurance from O2? So we sell O2 branded car insurance. You can go to Compare the Market and you can find O2 branded car insurance. And we have over 12,000 people who pay us for car insurance. And that comprises a couple of things. So we launched it at the tail end of last year. And at the moment, we're still really just in our product industrialization. I mean, it's an industrial product now, but it's testing and learning and building features as we go. And we're already over 12,000 customers. And what's innovative about it is we work with our marketing colleagues who felt that our brand would work well in the insurance industry. We already sell phone insurance, branded O2, so you know we kind of knew a little bit about it. We have some partnerships there. We looked at whether we could actually be an insurance company, you know, do the whole thing, or whether it would be better to partner. We went through that process. We looked at what would need to be done, and we agreed to partner. And we partnered with BGL, who are the guys who run Compare the Market and a few of the other sites. And what we do to make it different is all around the technology. So the lab built an app that basically does a number of things. Of course, it's the telematics. It's the thing that tells you how you're driving, how fast do you brake. It's all of that. But it's gamified, so you can compete with people. You can show how good you're driving versus the market and so on. But then we went through a test and learn with our customer base, and we learned, well, they want other things. So going back to innovation, making things simpler or easier or cheaper. So we built a claim functionality, and it was interesting because we built it based on the work we'd done with the Lowlands Rescue. Because when you want to put an insurance claim in, you want to photograph the car, you want to take some notes, you want to maybe say what it is, you want to take the details, you know, photograph of the other person's driving license, and you want to be able to just upload it, along with a map of where you are actually, because that's the location. And you want to be able to send that to the insurance company without any, well, so we built that in the app. You can make automated claims through the app. We also allow you to contact rescue services through the app. There's also a concierge, and there's also a recommendation engine for local garages if you need work done. So we're building these features out bit by bit based on customers saying, you know what, we'd quite like this and we'd quite like this. But then we also underpinned it with data. So our relationship with BGL and with our customers said, you know what, we can probably give our customers a lower premium if our customers allow us to share some data with BGL. Not just how fast you're traveling, which of course you need to share, and that needs to be part of the premium, but also some data we know about the customer around, do they pay their bills regularly? What do they pay? Now, of course, the customer has to agree to this, and the quid pro quo, the value statement is, we give you the lowest premium we can get you if you let us share the data. And actually, that has worked very well. Interestingly enough, we can provide probably a better credit score history than somebody like Experian, because many of our customers have decades-long relationships with us, and they pay a bill every month, and it's often quite a valuable bill. And so that's been really valuable. And then when you add the usage data in terms of how they drive, you can see that complete data set allows our customers, if they're good drivers with a good history of payment, they can actually get really good discounts on their premium by buying O2 branded insurance. And the lab and the industry continue to manage that. So I have a small team who are supporting that application and continue to developing. And actually we're just about to launch Bob, which is our box on board. So that's where you put, for the younger drivers, where you actually have the more accurate, the telematics box in the car, so you know they're not cheating and giving their phone to their dad to drive for a bit. And that allows us, that again allows a bit more data and allow them to gain better premiums. So a really success story from an innovative lab idea working with the business to actually O2 entering a completely different market and selling through a completely different channel. You can't go into our shops and buy O2 Drive. You know, you go to where people buy car insurance and you buy an O2 branded product. So what's important? What have we found over the last 6 years that actually made this a success? Because, you know, it's had its ups and downs. But I think the first thing is get the right people. It's hiring diversity. So through diversity, you can get the best ideas. So we have hired from a range of areas. As I said, it's just insight analysts, robotics experts, data scientists, customer experience, user experience, designers, as well as obviously coders and product managers and project managers. But it's one of each. It's a diverse team, and they all get stuck in and they all develop the different ideas. And honestly, we've had to break HR policy. I mean, we've ignored it many, many times. Because if you follow HR policy, they don't really, you know, usually you can't hire these type of people. They're not the sort of people a corporate would hire. They're pretty disruptive. And often they will leave after, because they just can't, you know, they get fed up with working inside the corporate environment after a while and probably will leave. But building that team and bringing those skills together is, you do challenge your HR department a little bit. And the other thing is cheating. Okay, so when you set it up, you need a win. So you know, failing is good, but not the first 3 times when you set up a unit like this. So the first thing you do, you need to cheat. So you need to have an idea you know will be successful, that somebody will like. Probably isn't actually that innovative, but you can put a success on the board, you can shout about it, and you can say what this team is doing. And that for me is really important, because the cultural aspect, the support you need, you've got to have some success in the business. And the other thing is, you won't change the world. So we're not Google. We're not Facebook. We're not even looking to create a Google or a Facebook. We're looking to do innovation for our customers and help them just get on with their lives using their digital devices. So start small and grow. If you set out to create the next Google or the next great idea, you're not going to succeed inside the business. It doesn't work like that. And we've seen a number of people trying to do that in our business experts and not actually succeeding. Start small and grow. That's a really important thing. And partner. Realize in a corporate world, again, you're not a startup. You're not. So you need help. You need partners. We partner all over the place. We've got a smart home trial running. We partner with AT&T. In insurance, we partner with BGL. In IP, we partner with Oxygen. We partner everywhere, because you just can't do it all yourself. And you know, it's a small team. And fail. So after succeed, fail. And don't be afraid to fail, because you'll never start if you're afraid to fail. So we actually fail all the time. I think less than 10% of things that we do in the lab result in something that we're interested in taking forward over the long term. But you're on a 100 times benefit, not a 10 times benefit model, or even a 5 times benefit model. So most of the things we do in the lab have 100 times ROI. It's just that not many of them actually come out. So what are we looking at now? Because as I said at the beginning, it is all about, for us anyway, it's all about technology. So, you know, I listen and I understand that business change, transformation, business-led is a great buzzword, and I'm a CIO, and I definitely wouldn't do a major business change that's IT-led. But innovation, today's world, is all about technology. So we're constantly looking at different technologies, and we're constantly trying to understand what they do. So from bots to real-time Wi-Fi. I was going to play just two or three short videos if we've got time, and just give you an idea.
10 minutes.
Okay, so I'll give you an idea of some of the things that we're actually doing now.
Machine learning allows computers to find hidden insights without being explicitly programmed where to look. The tools and techniques are becoming accessible to everyone. Google, Amazon and Microsoft are all providing hosted service offerings around machine learning, which can easily be plugged into a company's existing products and services. The lab are using machine learning for network forecasting for the next few years, for determining customer network satisfaction independently from CSI score, and predicting churn on SIM-only tariffs.
So machine learning is one of the key things, and it has many applications from customer service. But what's interesting for a telco is actually inwardly, can we run our core platform? You know, running our networks, the most expensive, or one of the three most expensive things we do.
Companies have been collecting vast amounts of data for years. It's only now that we have the technology and expertise to utilize this data at a relatively small cost and getting invaluable insight in return.
Not sure what happened there. Okay, do the box.
Internet messaging is crossing into a new phase. Bots can provide anything from weather, traffic, to customer service information. Facebook have added huge momentum to bots with its new APIs and bot engine. The lab is looking at ways to leverage this technology. Facebook Messenger will just be the beginning, with responses being more intelligent and new platforms being introduced.
So bots is another one we're working with. Great application in customer service, probably the main application that I've seen for those so far. But actually, we're looking at in terms of using the AI and the bots to provide personalized offers to customers through other channels. So if you're looking at your bill, how about buying more data? We know about you. How about answering those questions right there in the customer service app? These are quite interesting ways to generate incremental revenue. Do the last one.
Built on a solution originally created by AT&T and adapted for the UK market. The lab worked closely with the teams when testing the US version of the solution. Moving forward, the lab will look at the feasibility of future features before any implementation on the live system. The lab are also producing a virtual reality experience to help drive interest around the product on launch. Smart home is an exciting new area, and we need to continually explore all the new possibilities with a fail-fast attitude.
So smart home, another product we're in commercial trial, and the lab, as I said, the lab doesn't just start things, it stays involved during the development of the product to allow us to continually test features and enhancements. So I think the thing, though, that I'll leave you with and finish with is that, our proposition, what I sell to the business is that having that digital innovation capability is critical to the success of our business achieving its strategy. But the most important thing I would say to anybody who's thinking about developing one is actually to start. Stop thinking about what it is. Stop trying to define it and actually start to recruit people who can engage with the business and get you value. Take that first step. Okay, thank you for listening. I think we've got time for Q&A.